Hey guys, welcome back to another video based on how good they'll be against a Tripwire main. So first, let's just talk about Tripwire's current gameplay. First off, Tripwire has a passive ability which allows her to levitate around the map, which is basically sort of most likely a flight. It may have a cooldown, it may not have a cooldown, but from what it seems like it's going to be exactly like Fleetway Sonic's. Tripwire also has obviously a basic attack which does 30 damage to people nearby and applies a bleeding effect which depends on whether you're moving or not moving, but if you're standing still the damage will only deal an extra 8 damage. If you're moving, not entirely so yet. Tripwire's first ability is Reach Out, which as you can see in this clip of Sonic right here, grabs the survivor and you have to try and run away to escape. You can pull up to about 4 survivors with this ability and then just let them go around after 6 seconds. Every second that this is actually kept on, it will deal 5 damage to all survivors being held. Her second ability is a mine ability which allows her to create a mine with a red crystal, place it on the ground, and when a survivor touches it, the mine pulls them in and explodes, dealing 35 damage. Tripwire's third and final ability, as she is only a 3-move character, is Red Diamond, which produces a red beam from the crystal on her head and deals 25 damage to survivors in hit. Not sure if this stacks or like anything like that. Not sure if this stacks or anything depending on how much times you hit, but 25 damage might just be the minimum. Anyway, now let's start rating characters on how likely you are to win with them against the Tripwire. Let's just go in order of the characters here, starting off with an Amy who has a hammer ability and a throw hammer ability, which are really good for close range, not so good for mobility, but overall it is pretty decent, and I think it definitely could put up a fight, but I'm gonna put it at just about a B tier, because it's not necessarily the best, but not necessarily the worst. You could still defend yourself, and you know, that works. Then on to Cream. Cream. Absolutely terrible. D tier. No matter all the glide tactics, Tripwire can fly and catch you. It will be like impossible to escape. Then on to Eggman, who has a mobility item and a shield ability, which are both so overpowered, being able to run and to shield yourself from any airborne attacks and just get sort of distance. You can double jump, there's pretty much everything to it. Eggman is getting an S tier. Knuckles has a punch and counter and glide. Now the glide is a lot better than Cream's in my opinion, because you can bounce off any wall, which means you don't have to be high in the air, it doesn't take too long, you can sort of just dodge some attacks. It's definitely good in maps like X's Castle and some other maps, so I'd put him at an A because of the counter. Metal Sonic on the other hand is not very good with the healing or even the destructive charge. Landing a destructive charge is going to be very hard, but because of the health and the duration, I think you could definitely pull it off, so I'll put him in B. Then on to the final two, Sonic and Tails. Sonic is getting an S. He has a peel out ability which is so fast, and a drop dash ability which may not necessarily always hit the killer, but with such good mobility abilities it's quite easy to sort of escape and get away from Tripwire or stun and run away. It's just good for like overall defense and helping out your team as well. Tails is also quite low for me. I'd give him slightly higher because of his arm cannon, but with the glide, trying to dodge an attack is not really a good idea. Anyways, this is going to be my final ranking against how I think people like fare against sort of Tripwire. Obviously it depends on the player, skill level and all that, but this is my opinion. Let me know you guys' opinion in the comments, and that's going to be it for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you next time.